We saw very positively a significant reduction in the frequency of truck crashes generally, around 20%. That was driven by and large by a reduction in car and truck crashes, which were down by 17%, and that in turn was a result of COVID. Fewer cars on the road means fewer cars running into our trucks. And it's important to understand that just because a car and a truck have a crash, that the truck is not necessarily at fault. We've been reporting now for over 10 years on the proportion of fault in these accidents. Where a truck and a car are involved in a fatal crash, consistently year on year, 80% of the time, the truck is the not-at-fault party. And when we started this work in the early 2000s, over 1 in 4 of our large truck crashes were the result of fatigue. In 2020, that dropped to a record low of 8%, and that's a credit to the work the trucking industry has done in that space. It would be easy to go and say, truck drivers need to give more space, but the reality of it is that everyone drives too close on Australian roads. As the truck driver tries to establish the 1.5 to 2 football fields of stopping distance they might need ahead of them, it will be continuously eroded by cars cutting into that space. So it's a holistic problem that needs a holistic solution. Been an unintended benefit of COVID is an increase in domestic tourism. It's great that people are getting out on those regional highways and seeing some of our wonderful country towns, but understand that your journey to that destination is actually one of the more dangerous things that you will do. So plan ahead. Structure your rest breaks. Understand that you're essentially driving in someone else's office, in their workplace, and give them the space and the time they need to do their job safely. Since the early 2000s, we've seen a 50% increase in both trucks on the road and freight being moved in Australia. And in the same time, we've seen a 30% reduction in the number of heavy vehicle-involved road deaths in Australia. And that speaks volumes to the very high performance of the Australian trucking industry in terms of safety.
Data is going to transform the trucking industry, full stop, and we will be able to tell what is actually impacting drivers on the roads, the conditions that contribute towards incidents that occur, and also, more importantly, how we can use that data to prevent incidents from occurring in the future. The NTARC report is an analysis of the leading causes of heavy vehicle incidents on the road network across Australia, and in the nearly 20 years that we've been producing this report, the improvements in road safety outcomes have been tremendous, and we're very pleased to share those here today.
For us, any additional research or information that helps us with our strategy and planning is critical. And we're so pleased to be partnering with NTI with such important information. So we welcome this year's report, and we look forward to analysing it in more detail to reaffirm that our current strategies and programs of work are aligning to what we need to do to achieve those safety outcomes. Look, for all drivers, you really need to slow down. Appropriate speed is really what we're asking you for. But just remember, when you've got a 60, 70 tonne heavy vehicle behind you, you need to leave space. You need to ensure that you give them the manoeuvring space and the appropriate distances to slow down and to brake. And if we can do that, not only will you arrive safely, but also our drivers will arrive safely. Drive to the conditions, drive to the speed limits, just leave the space that they need to keep you safe.
The big difference is that in the traffic you haven't got people jumping in front of you, they're not trying to merge, and the worst thing about a lot of the motorists is that they don't understand that you can't see them, or they don't understand the rules in merging, and they see a truck and have to beat it to the end of the merge lane. You'll leave a gap in the traffic for safety's sake, but as soon as you leave a 20-metre gap, you'll fit 2 cars in there, so they jump across. So you jump back another 20 metres and it just continues to happen. Yeah, and especially in traffic, because they don't realise how long it takes to brake, and we leave that gap there for a reason, because we know we need that distance to brake. But they'll jump in and pull up straight away, so automatically I've lost 20 metres and I've got to try and pull up a B-double. It's not real good. It's basically people just don't understand. And we're all here to do a job. I've got family at home. I want to get home to them. I don't want to be laying up in a hospital because someone made a poor choice.
And you've just got to be aware of everything. You've got to have eyes in the back of your head, basically, and in every mirror. And use whatever you can as mirrors, because you've got a lot of blind spots on your trucks and people don't understand that. A lot more quieter, a lot less traffic, and a lot more trucks.
Safety outcomes across the road network. This is a tremendous testament to the Australian road transport community, and is a testament to the investment they've made safer and more sustainable. We do this by partnering with industry and a recent example of this.
Largely as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw a significant reduction in the overall frequency of serious truck crashes in 2020, and fewer car journeys overall for the year. Looking over the 10 editions of the report, given the geometry of the roads and the centre of gravity of our trucks, they are more prone to rolling over than other vehicles on the road.
Primary responsibility of the National Heavy Vehicle Regulator, and I'm really pleased and
but who's explaining that to trailer builders? But they're all completely weather sealed. They're all obviously weather sealed. Strong hesitancy against it, and there's a bunch of workshop guys that need these skills.
But do you think that's the voice of 1 or 2?
Yep. But they're really excited by it.
Yep.
What I want to find is the market customer.
Yep.
Like the most of the ride will be better on airbags. You sometimes get just the wrong geometry of the road, and so you get a road that has the same wobble on the EBS side. Because my favourite man there is Shane Pendergast from Air Brake Systems.
Yep.
And
You get in, but just climb on up. Pretend I'm not here. Ready? Start up. Pretend I'm not here. Close the door. Beautiful. Could you just point out the camera on your right on the dash there again for me? That one there?
That's infrared camera.
Perfect. And you think
There's another.
pressing some buttons there, just ignore me for 5 seconds.